Yeah, we was caught in New York, and it was a mess. So I'm here now, um, and trying to do one of my last business trips of the year. So and we had a great time. I'm sorry it was late. We won't be late now. So all right.
We have everything ready and we're
Yeah.
ready to visit with y'all and we can't wait to get started.
You're gonna light.
Okay, we're gonna do our candle lighting
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Patty's got the
And,
candles down there.
It's gonna work for me.
Uh-huh. Oh no, it won't. That's not good. Let me get you.
I got it.
You did?
Yep. Ready, everybody?
Yeah. Wow, you got that one working.
Baruch atah
You can still sing.
Yehovah Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu ladlik neshel Shabbat.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Okay, gonna say a quick blessing over the bread and the wine. Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Blessed are you, Jehovah, our God, ruler of the universe, who brings forth bread from the earth.
And this is good bread.
Yeah, that's good. I got you some butter too, Nick. Nice.
Oh.
Okay. Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech haolam borei prei hagafen. And blessed are you, Jehovah, our God, ruler of the universe, who creates the fruit of the vine. I bet that tastes good right about now, Dave, huh?
Yeah.
After all that rushing.
Yeah. And snowing and 6 gate changes and yeah.
Oh my gosh, but you made it.
Yeah. I'm very grateful to be here and that you're with us.
I'm grateful to see all of you here.
And Patty, you got the roses.
And I got your slides ready.
Okay. And as you know, we always start off with the Shema Israel. So, hear, O Israel, Elohim, our Elohim, Elohim is one. And you shall love Elohim, your Elohim, with all your heart and with all your soul, very exceedingly. And these words which I am commanding you today shall be upon your heart and taught incisively to your children. And you shall speak of them when you sit in your house and as you walk along the way, and when you lie down and when you rise, and you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they will be as bands between your eyes, and you shall write them in the door frames of your house and your gates, because Elohim made a covenant with you in Horeb on the day of the assembly. Mm-hmm.
Amen and amen.
What else can you say? First person from the Most High. The importance of the Sabbath is the second one, and it is the second commandment. Oddly enough, in the stone that we saw last week, and also in the Moses scroll. Sanctify the seventh day, and you shall cease on it, because in 6 days I made the heavens and the earth and all that is in them, and I ceased on the seventh day. Therefore you shall also cease, you and your animal and all that is yours. I am Elohim, your Elohim.
Amen.
So I was chasing home to make this one happen. All right.
You're a little bit late, but it's all good.
Yeah.
Good.
A lot of Jewish people had said that as long as you start to come home before the Sabbath begins. All right. So this week in history, some interesting things. In 1577 of the current era, Francis Drake set sail from England on an epic 3-year circumnavigation of the world aboard the Pelican, which he later named the Golden Hind. In 1520 CE, Martin Luther publicly burned Pope Leo's papal bull Esserge Domini, which demanded that Luther recant his writings. So there's a history of us coming from that, those defiant moments. And really a big one in 1522 BCE, it's believed that Darius the Persian monarch, allowed the Jewish people to rebuild the temple at Jerusalem, strengthen his hold on his kingdom when he defeated Nebuchadnezzar III in battle at the Tigris, and at the Euphrates. Pretty interesting there.
Uh-huh.
And you got yours?
Yeah, my Hebrew word of the day. I was gonna use the word drone, but I think we're all kind of tired of that word right about now. So we're gonna give the word drone a rest for right now and get back to the to the Bible.
Mhm.
And one of the words in the Torah portion tomorrow is wrestled. Is this the word is it up the slide?
Yeah, it's up to you. Keep
Okay,
reading.
okay. The word is actually a conjugated verb, and he wrestled via avec. And most of the sources I looked at want to put the emphasis on the last syllable, via avec. And that just doesn't seem intuitive to me. I would have said via avec. But that's Hebrew for you. And so there you have that. So this is derived, it's a conjugated verb derived from the root vak, meaning to wrestle.
Mhm.
And the explanation of the prefix vav means and. The conjugation is the yay and the ek, indicates it's a third person masculine singular form of the verb in the past tense. That might be a little bit TMI there, but I just
No.
thought I'd put it in there.
Well, that's really good.
Okay, so it tells you kind of how the construction of the word.
Mhm.
And so the example is what we have in Genesis 32 in our Torah portion tomorrow.
Right.
I'll read that quickly. So
Yeah,
Jacob
please.
was left all alone, and there a man wrestled with him until daybreak. When the man saw that he could not overpower Jacob, he struck the socket of Jacob's hip and dislocated it as they wrestled. Then the man said, "Let me go, for it is daybreak." And we're going to learn a lot more about this word and also many other things about this Torah portion in Ross's class tomorrow called Wrestling God. So I hope you all
Yeah.
will tune in for that.
Yeah.
And
It's a very strategic thing where his name is changed
Mhm.
also. And there's a lot of thoughts about what that is. It'll be interesting to see what my girl wants to see me.
okay,
Hi,
okay,
Sasha.
okay. You go.
Sasha.
And also, there's a lot of discussion about did he wrestle with a god,
Mm.
an angel,
A man. Yeah.
a man.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what Ross has to say.
Yeah, he's got some really good. Can't wait
Yeah.
to see what he has to say tomorrow. But I think we all have felt that we have wrestled not only with people, humans in our lives, but also in the spiritual sense. You know, even with our own thoughts, sometimes I feel like we
Yeah.
wrestle.
Do you still hear those voices?
Only when
Oh,
I'm drinking.
what I've been through in my life. Thank you. All right. So we wanted to also read the Proverbs, and so I'm just going to read tonight. I didn't have time to get it all set up for everybody. I think Proverbs chapter 3 is one of the most beautiful Proverbs that there is. And it really struck me when I read it the first time, probably 30 years ago, or maybe even longer than that, just to let you know. One thing I wanted to say before I read it, I talked with people like Ross and James Tabor, Betty, Ralph, Becky, Timothy. One of the things that I think we all have to be careful of is 100% when we're new to something, not to become too overwhelmed by it and become, trade one orthodoxy for another. And I see that a lot with people who come to this part of the faith.
We did it probably. Well, no, I don't know.
No, I remember thinking in the 90s, how can I go to sleep on I thought the Sabbath, well, I'm not going to ever be able to support this. And that was in the 90s. So,
And on the other side of the coin, though, people might just like give up everything and say, well, nothing is true.
yeah, but I'm talking about the people who get fervent about it.
Oh,
And
yeah,
there's nothing wrong.
zealous.
There's nothing wrong with being zealous about your faith. Don't get
Mm-hmm.
that in there. But it's like you can overturn this and become, and I'm just saying 30 years on, 40 years on, I see it very differently.
One example, your mom, she had to go to the dentist, and our dentist that we had was a Muslim.
Mhm.
And she sat in the chair and she went on to explain to this poor guy, to this dentist, how well we observe the Torah faith, and that's a faith that we have. And he said, "Okay, can we talk about dentistry now?" It was just such a funny moment. I'll never
I
forget.
certainly love my mother.
I know, but we were very zealous in the beginning.
Oh yeah, and I remember her going to people in the restaurant saying, "You should not be eating that pork."
I know.
And I'm like, "Mom, back off, Mom." And people believe in something so greatly, they start telling everyone else about how they should believe.
But I think it's that you probably know that curve that you go like this,
Right.
and then you kind of level
Yeah.
off after a while.
Yeah.
And I think that we're in the kind of leveling off period.
yeah.
We're still coming up because we're.
I remember also like being mean to people about them celebrating Christmas, which I don't sell. Last time
For me,
I was. The last time I celebrated Christmas was 1975. And Worldwide Church of Gods, I don't think they ever celebrate Christmas. Or some of those groups. And my whole point was for me it was very
we were very zealous about.
yeah, we were very zealous. And now, I realized when we named our son Daniel, our son who passed, my judge is El. God is the judge, not us. And I see this in a lot of orthodox and zealous people. Anyways, it's something I try to stay away from. All right, so Proverbs chapter 3, and I'm reading from the American Standard Version.
Do we have a reader? Or are you going to do?
No,
it?
I
Oh,
I
okay.
couldn't. I was like, I was tripping through the week with like, if you want to get up, you can also
There
read.
you go ahead.
Okay.
You're a good reader.
Well, I love this, and I love the American Standard Version, and I also love the King James. The way it sounds, I know there's problems. Proverbs chapter 3, my son, forget not my law, but let thy heart keep my commandments. For length of days and years of life and peace will they add to thee. He could kind of stop right there. I mean, what else do you need? But he goes on. Let not kindness and truth forsake thee. That's why I brought up the kindness. Bind them about thy neck, write them upon the tablet of your heart. So shalt thou find favor and good understanding in the sight of God and man. Trust in Jehovah with all thy heart, and lean not upon thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he will direct thy paths.
I know this one by heart just about.
You want to read some of it?
You do.
Yeah. Be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear Jehovah and depart from evil. It will be health to thy navel and marrow to thy bones. Honor Jehovah with thy substance and with the first fruits of thine increase. So shall thy barns be filled with plenty, and thy vats shall overflow with new wine. My son, despise not the chastening of Jehovah, neither be weary of his reproof. For whom Jehovah love, he reproveth, even as the father, the son in whom he delights.
This is my favorite one, I think.
I'm having trouble. It's so powerful to me. Happy is the man that finds wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding. For the gaining of it is better than the gaining of silver, and the profit thereof than fine gold. She is more precious than rubies, and none of the things that thou canst desire are to be compared to her. So it's personified, it's a female. Length of days is in her right hand, and in her left hand are riches and honor. Her ways are ways of pleasantness, and all her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to them that lay hold upon her, and happy is everyone that retaineth her. Jehovah by wisdom founded the earth. By understanding, he established the heavens. By his knowledge, the depths were broken up, and the skies dropped down dew. My son, let them not depart from thine eyes. Keep sound wisdom and discretion. So shall they be life unto thy soul, and grace to thy neck. Then shalt thou walk in thy way securely, and thy foot shall not stumble. When thou liest down, thou shalt not be afraid. Yea, thou shalt lie down, and thy sleep shall be sweet. Be not afraid of sudden fear, neither of the desolation of the wicked when it cometh. For Jehovah will be thy confidence, and will keep thy foot from being taken. Withhold not good from them to whom it is due, when it is in the power of thy hand to do so. Say not unto thy neighbor, go and come again, and tomorrow I will give thee, when thou hast it by thee. Devise not evil against thy neighbor, seeing he dwelleth securely by thee. Strive not with a man without cause, if he hath done thee no harm. That's a good qualification.
Every lie is a
And powerful.
Is powerful.
Envy not the man of violence, and choose none of his ways. For the perverse is an abomination to Jehovah, but his friendship is with the upright. The curse of Jehovah is in the house of the wicked, but he blesseth the habitation of the righteous. Surely he scoffeth at the scoffers, but he giveth grace unto the lowly. The wise shall inherit glory, but shame shall be the promotion of fools. Well, I'm sorry, but this is one of the most powerful.
Oh man, very powerful.
You know,
Thank you. Good job reading that, Dave.
Yeah. And Ross put up here, because Elohim, your Elohim, he is of Elohim and master of masters, the mighty and the awesome El, the Moses scroll. Oh,
Thank you.
yeah. And all the people. Yeah. So I want to just summarize this a little bit. And please, I want to know from you people. Really, the key themes are trust in God. And you can read the rest of this later. I'll put it up. The value of wisdom, the benefits of obedience, being obedient to God, discipline from God, and righteous living. You know, God is 100% not afraid to correct us. I believe he's corrected me. I never heard his voice, but things happened in my life. Oh, really, Dave? You think that's a smart thing to do? And, sometimes people end up losing their lives because of this, in my opinion.
Not paying attention.
Not paying attention to the correction of the Most High God. And I feel that all of us can learn. We can learn from one another, and we can learn by our life's, experiences, and of course, reading. I love reading so much. It is a beautiful thing for me to read and contemplate, and you think of things. How so what does it say? I got to try to get this out of here. Okay. Yes. Clody says we wrestle with God when we don't debate. And Eric says a great reading Shabbat. Shalom Toda. Oh, thank you. The other thing I think is this, and I think there's some older people on this I can see here, which I'm grateful that they're here. And I can say this, that one of the big things for us is you read something when you're 25 years old and it means something. That's great. Then you read it when you're 40 years old and you're like, oh my God, this is so much deeper. And then you read it when you're 60 years old and you're like,
you think, how did I miss this?
How did I miss this? And Ross has kind of done a little bit of this in some of his discourses on the Torah recently. And so for me, I believe that it's a beautiful thing that we have this time on this earth, and our spiritual level rises, and our understanding and our wisdom rises if we
allow it.
And again, I remember when I first met Ross, I'm like, I can't tell him that I don't believe in Jesus, because he was still preaching Jesus. And I'm like, how am I going to tell him? And then, finally over time, it came out that, well, I don't really believe in Jesus like that anymore either. And it was like, oh my God, these are beautiful things. And it's not that I don't believe that the historical Jesus lived and he was a great person and, he got killed for what he believed in, but I don't believe in him as like the Lamb of God because, even more now, I don't even believe in the sacrificial system that was out there. I believe the sacrificial system is we sacrifice ourselves. We adhere to the rules of the Almighty and we obey him. And that's what is where our salvation comes from, and believing in his prophets and Moses, what Moses said to us. The Decalogue mainly. I mean, once you get by that, it's a beautiful thing. There's a lot of other things that we could talk about, but the Decalogue, just getting through the Decalogue every day correctly is a very powerful thing.
Joe Dow says it's a journey, and a journey is really a good way to describe it.
It is.
It seems to be like our movement, though, is kind of like a flock of starlings or a school of fish that kind of seems to move all along, in the same way, even though we're not totally interacting with each other all the time.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of learning from each other and teaching each other. And
there's differences, and that's the beautiful thing.
But it's like, it's a movement and a journey. And it's
and I think, I feel that we kind of are taking to the ultimate end what David Horowitz started, and I'm sure there'll be greater people out than us after us. But
right.
But David Horowitz, I always loved. I never met him, but James and Ross and Ralph and Becky have told me about him, and he would say, "Without a united Israel, there is no world union." United Israel World Union, and we kind of got there because we were searching for the lost tribes, and I believe in the lost tribes as a part of what Ezekiel and Jeremiah spoke of it. The Psalms speak of them coming together.
I think it's starting to happen now. I just read in the news that there's kind of an exodus out of Canada currently happening now because of the rising anti-Semitism. And I think we're going to see some of that in European countries. At least the Jews will be coming out, and hopefully scattered Israel will wake up too. To a lot of
I'm careful about telling business people my support for Israel. But the beautiful thing this week was all of our employees came to me. I was in Indiana and took them out for a holiday party, end of the year party. And one by one, they came up to me and they said, Chad told them about us going to Israel and our son being buried there. And they said, we support Israel. And it was just overwhelming that, because I don't want politics or religion to get into the business. And that, in that sense, I treat them, and they all just were there, and it was just amazing how much they supported Israel and why they supported Israel.
I think a lot of people are feeling free to talk about it now that they can say it, and they were afraid to speak.
These people are very ignorant to speak against Israel, in my opinion, and they don't understand. And anytime someone dies, it's horrible. I know that.
Right.
But anyways, the issue is that a lot of my friends in the UAE are telling me how they support Israel. I won't give you their names right now, but they're very wealthy people and they love Israel. And they don't like what Iran did. So I'm sorry I got off on that, but it was a big...
But it's so funny. I don't know if this happens to any of you while out there, that we explain over the 30 years we've been doing, 35 years we've been doing this, we explain to everyone we know how we don't really participate in Christmas, but there'll be that one little old lady that comes up and says, did you get your Christmas shopping done yet?
Yeah.
You just say, no, we didn't get that done yet.
Yeah.
It's just, you got to laugh.
There was a very wonderful woman that was a Catholic that worked with me. Her name was Rosemary. And every year I explain that I don't celebrate Christmas. And she said, "Oh, that's wonderful. You're doing it because you believe it's a religious." I said, "Yes." So next year she'd say, "What are you getting your kids for Christmas?" And I'm like, wow. Remember what I told you last year? I don't remember that.
Yeah,
Anyways,
yeah.
and our friend Cody, who we saw last week, wants to speak.
We had a great time seeing Chloe last week.
Oh,
And
yes. And
it was a short trip, but it was
Yeah.
we packed a lot of stuff in. I think.
we did. All right, Cody, can we? Hey, Cody, how are you? Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. I'm good. I'm good. I had the first question of to why I don't participate in Christmas lunch today.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
This was from my second job in the medical office.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the ladies were like, okay, we are going to do this and that, and we are going to gather and we will have a Christmas lunch. And I was like, okay, I cannot participate in that. And they were like, oh, you don't do Christmas? No. You never? No, it's been some years, I told them. And,
Yeah.
how can you do that? And I was like, okay, let me use a word that I heard recently. I'm Jewish-ish.
Were they okay with it?
Yeah. They were fine. No, we understand. I understand. At least one told me. I understand that it's okay. It's whatever you believe. But why don't you? Why? And then I was like, because I don't believe in Christmas.
Yeah.
And then she told me, oh, it's only a free meal.
Sure.
And I told her, yes, I understand, but I'm very religious in my way.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I love.
I'm out of answers.
Oh no, and I love that, Clody, because the issue is you know I try to reduce my judgment on those people now that I didn't in the beginning, and it's tough because there's songs that you hear, you know, and
Yeah.
it works on your psyche. Um, I just heard a wonderful song by Stevie Wonder, "Someday at Christmas." If you ever heard that song, "Someday at Christmas," and
I don't remember.
it's not a bad song. He's like, "Someday at Christmas, men won't be killing people each other," and it's an anti-war, but it was beautifully written, and I cried when I heard it because I hadn't heard it in 20 years. "Someday at Christmas," Stevie Wonder. And again, it's a beautiful message, not about Christmas, but about loving one another and not killing people in wars. And so, and also we get banged with all the commercial advertising. And, I was in a Delta Sky Lounge and they're just blasting the Christmas music.
Yeah, in New York City too.
Yeah,
Everywhere.
it was everywhere. And, I mean, I'm not trying to be angry, but it gets old for me. I can't wait till the season's over and all the advertisements, and they made it so much.
Commercial.
Yeah. Ross said I led some tours for two Christian groups in Israel and had the company told me he needed me to take them to the Lord's Supper with them. And I told him I couldn't. He asked me just to think of it as crackers and juice.
So, some lady here on YouTube says this year Hanukkah falls on
Yeah,
the
that's
same day. That's interesting, isn't it?
Oh, he
Yeah.
should have known that means damnation to your soul, doesn't
I
it?
really admire couples though that have different faiths.
Yeah.
And they make it work. They have different celebrations
Yeah.
and they combine them or whatever they do, and it's a peaceful thing and it's a beautiful thing. It's
I would have trouble if we have we have nothing to do with Christmas here. in our house. And it,
I think that,
it,
I'm sorry. I'm
go
sorry.
ahead,
Can I also?
please.
Yeah, I just want to say that even if somebody is a Christian and reads the Bible, understands that the
Right.
25th of December is not the day when Jesus was born according to
Right.
the narrative.
Yes.
So, anyways, wherever you go with that, this is a pagan holiday.
Hmm.
This is
Yes.
the winter solstice, and this
Yes.
has nothing to do with the Bible, with Jesus, with
No.
the God of Israel, with any monotheistic religion, really. So
Karen,
it's
you look at what Karen
wherever.
wrote. Yeah, that I believe you. Look what Karen wrote. I call it extortion day, and I give my kids money to shut up about it.
Well, it almost would be better if people would just say, hey, it's the winter solstice. The days are going to be getting longer. Let's have a party.
Yeah. Well,
But
speaking of that, and I'm sure Ross knows this, what I'm going to say. Did anyone ever read Ernest Martin's The Star That Astonished the World? It's a fascinating book about it. I mean, I read that 40 years ago, but it's about the real. He gives the best estimate of the real time, and that that probably Jesus was born in September ish, and I can't remember it all because it's been so long. But that when these people came to honor him, it was probably around Hanukkah, around Kislev, and so that was again. It's not important in my life to know when Jesus was born, but I that it wasn't on December 25th, and
and some have speculated that they were traveling back to their hometowns for Sukkot, or I don't know what they were trying to
yeah.
just different things.
No, but Ernest Martin was a brilliant writer. I mean, the temples that time forgot. I don't agree with everything he writes, but he's really pretty brilliant.
Sukkot, I think you return to Jerusalem, don't you, on that day?
Yeah, but if you read the book again,
Well, okay.
you could be refreshed. But I can't remember it.
During the holidays.
It's so long ago. As you can see, we got a lot of books that once you read them, and then and then your life goes on, and you forget what you learned.
Exactly.
I can't say this about Ross, but I can say it about me. I've forgotten more than most people ever learned about the Bible because we studied this so deeply for so long. Dr. Tabor, that was his job. He does a great job.
Ross too, yeah.
And Ross is always getting better.
Days, I think I might go with Festivus.
Yeah, for the rest of us.
For the rest of us. If anyone is
Seinfeld, please don't.
Love that.
Yeah,
Festivus.
don't take that the wrong way there,
No.
people.
It's just a joke.
Yeah. Oh, it was because of Ernest Martin that I have an appreciation for museums. Wow.
Oh.
I'd like to know more about that, Lando. And that's an amazing thing. And like I said, Cody, how was it when you didn't celebrate Christmas with your family? Were they upset? Because I'm sure that we could all talk about a little bit about that.
So I'm blessed in this regard because my family are not Christian,
Oh,
and actually all of Albania during the years of the dictator, we didn't have any religion.
of
So
course.
we celebrated only New Year's Eve, and that was the big thing,
Wow.
which I still celebrate.
Wow.
And Christmas were never a thing there. Plus, half of the populations are Muslim and half are almost Christian, and so it's not a big thing.
Okay. Good for you. Uh-huh.
But no, they're good, and because I was like 6 or 7 years a Jehovah's Witness.
Oh,
I was much weirder than I am.
no.
According to my
Well, they don't celebrate Christmas either, do they?
No.
No, but they don't celebrate not even birthdays, New Year's Eve. The only thing that they have is the commemoration of the death of Jesus, like some kind of Pesach. So,
Oh,
yeah,
well,
that's the only thing that they do. All the other things are pagan and shouldn't be done.
they still do Sunday, right? Too. Um, I was going to say to you that Jehovah's Witness came here once,
Hmm.
and we brought the kids into our library. They're like, "Oh, you really know the Bible? We're going to bring the elder over." So the elder comes over like a week later and starts telling me all these things, and I start questioning him.
Hmm.
And he gets up and he said, "I didn't come here to get preached to. I came here to preach to you." And I said, "Well, you can get out of the house if you don't want to have a discussion." And he left. And
They don't come anymore.
no, they don't come anymore. That was like 20 years ago. Yeah, I want to have a discussion. There was no, what's that?
My sister Arta does this a lot. Whenever she sees them, she stays with them and starts discussions and begins to question them,
Oh.
and then answers to her questions, and then they are dumbfounded, and then she says, "Go home and read your Bible."
Oh, that's brutal. We also had Latter-day Saints or Mormons come by.
Mhm.
We had some Baptists come by over the
Do
years.
we have the Seventh-day Adventists? For
No,
no.
no. We knew a Seventh-day Baptist, Lois.
Mhm.
And of course the Catholic Church, when my mom and dad they put you on a blacklist. I swear they have one. Yes, I agree there, Karen. Um, when my mom and dad left in 72, the Catholic Church, they were the number one or two giver of donations every week. And they never even called my parents. They just left.
They didn't even come to say what happened.
Yeah, like why you were been Christian, you've been Roman Catholics your whole
Is
life.
everything okay?
Is everything? They just never even came back, and
Yeah.
to me that was stunning. That when I look back at it,
Even in a sense, if they wanted to
right, just
donations,
greedy. You know,
know.
where can I sign up for the blacklist, Nikki?
Just make them questions, Nikita. Just make them questions.
Yeah. Well, like I said, and then one of them, Jehovah's Witness, wrote us a long letter. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't remember
That they wrote us a long letter, really fearing for my soul. And yeah, skip theirs. Yeah, Karen says skip theirs. It's a beautiful. I mean, people have faith, and you like to have a discussion about it.
Mhm.
And a lot of people. I remember a Jehovah's Witness lady that my dad would talk to, and here's what happened. Her life was going down the tubes, for whatever reason, I don't remember. All this problems was going on, and she went to bed one night and said, "God, I don't know who you are, if you're alive, if you're real, but I need help." And the next day, Jehovah's Witnesses came to her house, and she's like, "This is my answer from God." And so I feel, I mean, it's really emotional for me because she was a wonderful woman. And I'm like, so,
So Southern
You know,
Lady says
can
Christmas.
I
Go
say
ahead.
something about Jehovah's Witnesses?
yeah,
I think that most of them are really kind souls, very kind people that
yeah,
are seeking God, and
yes,
on their way of seeking God, they
yeah,
see this community of Jehovah's Witnesses,
sure,
and some of them feel like home there because they
yeah,
are good people. They try
yes,
to keep the law, to keep the
yeah,
Torah. So I think actually I wanted to say this like the first thought after the Proverbs reading that you did, Dave.
yeah,
I think that at times we get stuck up a little bit too much in knowing academically every dot of the Bible or of the history,
Yeah.
while the essence and the substance is knowing the laws. And I think that seeking God in itself is keeping the laws, because nobody ever saw God. Nobody knows how God is, what's his form,
Right.
we don't know him apart from these commandments, these
Yeah.
laws.
Yes.
That is the way that we are going to know God, only if we keep his commandments.
Yeah.
And I think that is knowing God, and it doesn't have anything to do with which religion you are
Right.
and where you go on your Saturdays or Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the essence, and I think that ultimately,
Yeah.
is that a word?
I think so.
Ultimately, I think that the world peace and the days of the earthly paradise
Yeah.
spoken of from the prophets are
Yes.
going to come when all humanity will understand that we will have to unite on obeying these 10 commandments.
Mm.
Yes. That's a good
Well,
point.
that's a good hope.
Yes, that's something to look forward to.
It's as we saw in New York City, it's a long way from that right now.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Okay.
You never know. Sometimes sun comes immediately after a very big rain. So you
Yes.
never know.
No, I
Okay.
understand.
For my thoughts, I'm
All
gonna
right.
I'm gonna
Shabbat
get
shalom.
down.
Shabbat shalom, buddy. Thank you for tuning in, and it was so great to see you last week.
This other
Yeah.
lady here had a comment about Christmas being a huge debate among the different religious faiths. And I didn't realize that there's so many different ways that people celebrate them, even on different days and things like that.
Well, there's Eastern Orthodox.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's Orthodox, which all Protestants fall under the Orthodox calendar usually
Right.
for Easter and for Christmas. They didn't fall that. What can I say? The apple didn't fall that
Far from the tree. Right, right.
I heard a great Catholic talk and said, if you believe that Jesus is God and Sunday's the day we worship and all these other things, he said, the Orthodox got their Christianity from the Orthodox. You know what I mean? Because if you talk to some people like Southern Baptists, they're going to say, "Oh, we're Christians and the Catholics aren't."
Right.
But they got their religion from the Catholics. I mean, the basics of the religion, the books that are in the Bible, the days that they celebrate, the Trinity concept.
Well, the Trinity, one of the original ones was Jesus, Mary, and Joseph.
Right.
It was the Holy Family, wasn't it?
Yeah. Again, if you read the Babylon Mystery Religion.
Yeah, I did read that 100 years ago.
Yeah. and there's a few other books that can really explain this, and I'm sure these people have.
Yeah, there are a lot of Trinities out there.
Yeah. And so Marianne says, at the time of Yeshua's birth, did they think Rosh Hashanah was the New Year or Aviv? I would say that's not an easy question to answer.
I would have to look that up. I could look up the origins of Rosh Hashanah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I think that the Talmud and the Mishnah started in that same period. So I'm not sure they would have believed that Rosh Hashanah is anyone out there know the answer to this question?
I think it's a real right? And then they.
Yeah, of course. But I'm just saying, from my perspective, when did that real Rosh Hashanah started being called that?
Look on my chat app.
Yeah, because obviously God started with Aviv. The Bible doesn't say anything about Rosh Hashanah. The Rosh Hashanah of the Bible is an Aviv, or Abib, if you want to say it the right way. All right. Anyways, Eric says both. I'm not sure what he means by that, but we get Nikita up here. Nikita. So there was, I don't think before the Talmud and the Mishnah that Rosh Hashanah was called that, but that's just me. I don't know for sure. I got Nikita going up here, but again, let me see. Nikita, I said, come on up. Did you not get
Because it probably began in around the 3rd to 6th century CE,
Okay.
and it's evolved over that.
Certainly it has. Yes. I'm sorry, Nikita didn't come up. She's typing. Anyways, all right. Eric John wants to speak. She didn't get the invite. All right. Let me just try this one more time. Not sure what to do. If I can. Nikita's, I know Eric wants to speak. I hit it for Nikita again. Eric, there, you're up there. I see you, Nikita. You're still muted, but I see you up there.
Okay, so before he starts, can I read what Jodelle says about Rosh Hashanah? She
Okay.
thinks it's late under the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
The new year was Nisan for Samaria, but the 7th month for Judah.
Yeah.
So there's different.
Yeah. All right. We got Eric up there and we got Nikita. Nikita, can you speak? Can you speak, Nikita?
What happened to Eric?
He's up there too, but he's muted because
Okay.
Nikita asked first.
Okay.
Nikita, I'm not hearing you, hon. It looks like she's unmuted. Shoot. Sometimes she has this problem. Nikita? Not hearing you.
Well, maybe we could get Eric up and then Nikita could try after.
Sure.
You want?
Eric, you there?
I can always bow out.
Okay. Yeah, I think Nikita sometimes has to reboot. I'm not sure. She'll reboot. Yeah. What were you going to say, Eric?
Well, I was going to say all the New Year's and all kinds of things like angels and a whole lot of changes to what we would call the original Torah started in Babylon
Yes.
because the Babylonians had the beginning of the year, and of course the rabbis want to be inclusive and they joined with them and incorporated a whole. This is just general thoughts of mine. Incorporated a whole lot into what would become the Mishnah, the Talmud, and all the rest of it,
Right.
because they passing it along and building on top of it.
Yes.
But if I understood it, the main New Year was in Babylon was at the Rosh Hashanah time, and to make things simpler and everybody remember and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
It just kind of ended up that way.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. I mean, spring usually to me would be a better time for the new year, but that's just because things are all.
And now they've got the Jewish religion has 7 or 8 New Years.
Yeah.
They have a New Year for trees, a New Year for gumbo and crawfish, everything else.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's funny.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
The Bible said what it says, right? I mean, it says that this shall be the first of months for you, and it's how Passover was calculated too.
Correct.
And when the barley is in Abib, New Year's of
Green ear.
that's when the next new moon is the beginning. And so that could change drastically because Jerusalem was the highest place in Israel, and the barley could get green there early or very late. So, and I always looked at it as God's time. He'll bless you when he wants to bless you. But that was me. And then, of course, we have the current calendar, which is quite a mess, really. I celebrate it, but I mean, it's quite a mess. So some people celebrate the lunar calendar,
Right, right.
which is more correct, but it has issues too, in my opinion. Just saying what I want to say.
We all just do the best we
Yeah,
can. with
and
what we know.
and we it wasn't handed to us all correct. I mean,
Right, right.
the whole thing was really even the whole Bible was not put together in a way as Ross has gone over for many hours.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. I'll write something up soon on why I asked and post in discussion. Okay.
How's everything else, EJ?
Doing pretty well. We're in
Uh-huh.
another warming trend. You'll be glad to hear.
Oh, we got the cold going on.
Yeah, it's pretty cold here.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
get a nice break until end of next week.
Oh, nice. I think
And we
yesterday our wind chill factor was 7 degrees.
Yeah, and that's we're a little early for that.
Yeah.
Hey, Nikita's back. Let me try to get her up here. Just
Okay,
Get
thank
her
you.
up. Absolutely.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Have
yeah,
a great day.
yeah. Okay, Nikita.
Shabbat shalom and greetings to the
Hey, we heard you.
congregation of the Most High.
Man,
Shabbat
Shabbat shalom, Nikita. So nice to hear you.
It's so
I mean,
nice to be heard. I'm glad you were able to make it. I was worried about y'all. Y'all were a little late.
Yeah, we were the plane. I was supposed to be back here in plenty of time, but one delay after another, and gates were changed, and so and then I get a driver to drive me from the airport, and I gave him $20 extra, and he sped all the way here. No, I'm kidding. But what was on your mind? Was it about the Proverbs, Nikita, or just something else about Shabbat, or what's going on with you?
Oh no, the proverbs that you read were absolutely, the word of the Most High is so stunning. It
Yes.
inspires awe, makes you think,
Yeah.
makes you reflect. And
Yeah.
so, I loved what you were reading, and I had a million things to say, but I'm not going to tie everybody up to
Oh,
to expound on it. But
Yeah.
it was great. Thank you so much for that.
Well, if any of you want to read next time, let us know.
Yeah, and like I say, the Proverbs, I kind of mentioned that you read them over and over throughout your life, and they become deeper and deeper, and we can't all just hit it, and at once. I mean, it's they're deep words. Whoever
this
wrote
one,
the Proverbs.
I'm gonna again tomorrow because
Yeah.
there was a lot of meat in there.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was just
Yes, it was.
Yeah, it was.
And
And
that's
just
a
obey yeah, just obey
that's a
the
very long and deep discussion just
Yeah.
from, like you said, that chapter 3.
yes. Just one chapter. It goes trust in God, the value of wisdom, benefits of being obedient to God. Discipline does come from God, and to be righteous in your living. This is a plan for your whole life, in my opinion.
It is. It is.
And so we have to seek after wisdom, and it's not guaranteed. And we have to be obedient, as you've always been saying to us, Nikita. Obedience is a big deal in God's ways of doing it. It shows that we believe in Him and trust in God. I think the trust in God, it has to be a part of your soul, and it's a lifelong, thing. And then, God has disciplined us all, I think. I mean, He didn't call me up and say, Dave, you did that wrong, but you see things that don't work out in your life. And, I have regrets. I don't know if you do, but like, I wish I hadn't treated people a certain way 50 years ago or whatever, or 40 years ago. I wish I had paid more attention to people, or I wasn't being such a, what I felt now as a jerk. I look back and I'm humbled by that,
But you learn and grow. And Southern Lady
Yeah.
here says Jehovah wants spiritual growth.
right.
And that's what it's all about is
It is.
growing and becoming better.
And it's not easy.
No.
I tell you what, all the time. But that obedience is a great thing. And like I said before, wisdom is what is worth more than gold and silver. Knowledge and wisdom are what God wants. And I think that's the way He designed us, don't you?
I completely agree. He wants us to seek him in learning how to be better.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And understanding his purpose. And we won't understand it all. I mean, we're not going to be equals, but
But we have a lifetime, and you
Right.
know, I think there's a reason.
yes. And another thing, I think, Nikita, that when I was hearing you talk before, and I thought about this later, God doesn't want to reach down to us and fix us. We have to reach up to God. He's not coming down to our level in that sense. We must elevate to his level, and he welcomes us and he'll help us. I'm not saying he doesn't help us, but I'm just saying that we should want to not whine and complain about, all the problems that we have. We should take stock in saying, I got food today. I have warmth today. I can sleep in a shelter today. I can read the Bible today. All these are blessings upon blessings that for many years people never had. They couldn't even read the Bible, or they were killed. I mean, we tend to look beyond, and say, well, what else can God give me? Well, he gave you a lot already, like you were saying before.
I think I see God in everything. There is absolutely nothing I do not see him in. And when I don't understand what I'm seeing, then I question. I'm like, okay, Lord, what do you want me to see in this? What am I missing?
Absolutely.
Okay. So when I saw a line of people, right?
Yes.
And I was looking at it, and I just saw a line. It wasn't going in a particular place. Right now everything's a line because everything's crowded with the other face system of holidays.
Yes.
So I was thinking about being born. When we're born, there's a line in front of us. The first person in the line is the Most High.
Yes.
Then it's our parents. Then it's our siblings. Then it's a long line of people we'll meet before we die.
Right.
The Most High put himself first, but being uneducated and not learning, we reach around the Most High to our mother because she's our source of food.
Sure.
Okay. Then we get fed, and then we reach around our mother to our father, our siblings, and we live life. We keep reaching around the Most High because we don't understand or realize that he's actually the source of everybody else in the line behind us.
Amen.
And all of those people will be a part of the lessons that we need to learn in order to turn around and go back to the front of the line to the Most High, who's there all alone.
Right.
Okay. So now I got all of that just by standing in line and looking, and my eyes filled up because I was like, you've always been there. You were always there, but I had to learn through the relationships and the journey, the pathway to other people to get to you. And that's what makes me appreciate him.
Yeah. Yes.
So, people who don't, and that's what's hurtful or harmful about belief systems. Clody was mentioning before, and I forgot exactly what she said. Forgive me, Clody, if I didn't get your point, if I don't get your point right. And it was something about how other people believe in their gods, because that's all they know, or that's how they were raised.
Right.
We'll never believe anything different until our contentment changes.
Yeah. That's a good point.
We'll never believe anything different until our contentment changes. And what we believe is important, and because if you believe in a God that sacrifices children, then that's only the highest you can aspire to, because that's the level of your God.
Yeah. That's
okay.
I never thought of it that way, Nikita. That's a beautiful way to put it.
Definitely.
Your God believes in child sacrifice.
Yes, and then it's okay for you to do because you are imitating him.
Yeah, you could go party with P. Diddy. Whoops, I'm sorry. Forgive me, Lord.
But that's the thing. If you what you said, even though you asked for forgiveness, is absolutely on point and relevant.
Yeah.
Things that we love, we imitate.
Yes.
And that tells me who your God is. And that gives me the opportunity to choose whether or not I want to be a part of your life. Yeah. Because if your God will kill his children or allow child sacrifice or whatever, then
Right.
I mean nothing. If you will destroy that which is the fruit of your loins, meeting someone like me who's not even a blood relative would mean nothing to you.
Absolutely.
So you can use me, you can abuse me, you can enslave me, you can do all those other things
Yes.
because life is not precious. But as the Most High said, thou shalt not kill,
Right.
thou shalt not murder.
Right.
Okay, so
Yeah.
he's like, no, all life is precious. Life is precious.
Yeah.
And setting that up in the garden, and I eat meat. I do. I don't eat as much as I used to, honestly, because I'm trying to get away from it. But he didn't even want that to be our source of food originally.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So imitating the Most High, imitating for one other instance, a person I was talking to in a store asked me, said something about, Merry Christmas or whatever. I said, well, I hope you enjoy your holiday. I don't partake, but you do. Please enjoy yours.
Yes.
Very
You know.
kind to say. That's a very
Yes.
sad.
Because most people say it, they're not saying it to be contrary. They
Right.
just take for granted that everybody's like them.
Yeah.
And so the gentleman was saying to me, he said, well, if you don't mind me asking, and they always ask, but if you don't mind me asking, you don't celebrate Christmas? Is it a religious thing? I said, my faith is from the original scriptures.
Oof.
And it doesn't mention that, and so I don't do it. And he said, original, what is that? I said, the label would be Old Testament for those who do celebrate it, because they have a new one. But I have the original one, and I am very happy and content with that.
Mm-hmm.
And the person was like, okay, that's interesting. I said, well, sometimes if that's what he asked me was, how did I get there? And then he said, what could I advise to him? What would I advise? I said, okay, are you content with what you are? And he said, yeah. Because, most people will just go ahead and witness for their faith.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I said, if you are content where you are, once you become discontented, then you'll move. But as long as you're contented, if I give you anything that I have, you will see it as a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And you will be adversarial to that, and that will strengthen where you are.
Yeah.
Well, didn't Maimonides even say you should never try to change a person who's content in their faith?
I don't know about that one, Pat.
I'm going to have
You
to
picked that one up.
I don't know about it, but I agree with it simply for that reason, because they'll begin. People, we do it all the time. We compare what we know, love, and believe to what someone else knows, loves, and believes.
Yes.
That way we can make sure that we're on a great footing. But see, in order to come to the Most High purely, just for the sake of who he is and the truth of who he is, you have to be discontented with what you believe.
Correct. Yes, I agree. I agree with that.
And then he'll lead you and guide you in his path and by his way. So I'm not trying to set up. Now, if anybody wants to know because they're discontent and they're looking for some truth, I'll talk all day.
Yeah. I believe
you have to put me out.
Somehow I believe that, Nikita. Here's something else that started me thinking way back yonder. Because of my background, I can see that things could go on forever to infinity, but negative infinity, I have a hard trouble with that. What do you mean there was no beginning? Well, what about God? What was before God, or who made God? And these questions were so enormous, it got me searching. And I still don't have any answers about those. I'm not saying I do, but it got me to think there's more than this being taught to me. And I was not happy with what it was. And as a 12 and 13-year-old, I had a King James Bible, and I'd go into my parents' room at nighttime and I would read them verses and tell them what it means. I just look back like, what kind of kid does that? You know what I mean?
Okay, so it may not have been Maimonides. It may have been Rabbi Jonathan Sachs.
Okay.
So when somebody said something like that, you shouldn't try to convert a person who's happy in their faith.
No, I agree.
My little chat GTP, like Ross and Jono have Ezra,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm wondering if I should name mine Esther.
Okay. Well, you know, Esther's
I
related.
love her.
Yeah. But anyways, I like that.
I like
I like those ideas, Nikita, you know, and that once you start searching, you can get into, it's almost like an addiction. You can really start really looking, and the next thing you know, you can also peel the onion skins too far, and you have to be careful because you know it's a deep thing. Faith is a deep thing.
So
And,
we have to be patient with ourselves in
Yeah.
our learning.
right,
Because like you said at the beginning of the telecast, the broadcast tonight, you
yeah,
can get overzealous
right,
to the point to where
right.
the Most High can't teach you. Because like I said before, if your cup is full, no one can pour anything in it.
Or it's perceived to be full. And what is it full
Mhm.
of? You know, what is it full of? Though I agree there 100%. You know, I think that that to become humble in what you know, you know, it it's a very important part because, like I said, you know, it sounds arrogant to say I've forgotten more than most people know, but that's the average person I'm talking about. I'm not talking about Ross or any of the people on this. I mean, sure, these people here have studied their Bible for their whole life. And there's brilliant people that question Ross in the after class. And, you know, I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about if you went up and down my street, most of these people don't know anything about the Bible. And they go to church on Christmas and Easter, you know, and that's it. That's the extent of their faith. So when I say I've forgotten more than they know, that's who I'm talking about. I'm not talking about people like Clody or Julia or Libby or Marianne or Lando or Ross.
the
Certainly,
average person just
Yeah,
hasn't
and
put
Betty.
in the.
No, they just don't put in the time. And you know,
Wait, hold it. Can I say something, Dave?
please,
I do agree with what you said, but the problem is, it's not that they don't put in the time.
Yeah.
It's that they've learned that they don't have to.
yeah,
Those faiths teach them pretty much a laziness about who their God is.
yeah.
So they don't have to put any effort. It's that
Yeah.
once saved, always saved. I don't have to put any effort because there's nothing I can do to be more saved.
You have a parachute or whatever. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? A life jacket, a life preserver. So
Yeah.
I don't have to do anything. That would actually, in their line of thinking, that would actually enrage their deity if they
Yeah.
tried to do something else.
Mm. Yeah, that's unbelievable. That's true.
Yeah, a lot of people don't reach out until there's a disaster or some kind of tragedy.
Or a crisis in their faith, you know.
Yeah.
Or when they pray and their prayers don't get the response that they sought because they're
Right.
like, well, why didn't you give me what I asked you for? You know, I show up Christmas and Easter. I do, you know, they feel like they're good enough to get their.
What else do I need to do?
Exactly. There's nothing. And that's what they're taught. They take it in because it's convenient or it's
Beautiful.
traditional to their families and they
Yeah.
believe it until, like you said, they have some type of crisis of faith, which generally is
Yeah.
either a death or a health
Yeah.
issue, something, an eternal scare.
Yeah.
And then they're like, you know, what's wrong with my God? And they have two choices. They either become atheists or they start searching for an answer. And that's
Yeah.
when we show up with our little capes on and stuff.
Capes. I love that.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. And you know, the other issue is you know, the places where they worship also. We had a friend that we were reading them the Bible, and they said, well, that's nice that you're reading the Bible to me, but it's not holy like a big church is, you know. And you go
Wow.
to these, and I'm like,
Not that the Bible, but that our setting,
Right.
our Bible study setting wasn't.
it was a kitchen table.
Church.
We were around a kitchen table.
Right.
And they're like, well, you know, it's not like
It doesn't
church.
feel holy.
And you know, you go to these places. I've been to the big ones, you know, the Vatican, kind of the mother of all the I won't say
The
that word.
mothership.
No, I was going to say another word about prostitution, but I won't.
Oh,
But that's the mother of all, and everything in there it will stun you when you walk in the Vatican the first time. But it doesn't have anything to do with the truth of the Torah, the Nevi'im, and the Ketuvim, the Hebrew Bible. You know, Moses has horns because they misread the Hebrew, and you know, and Jesus is their sacrifice that they have to believe in, and his bloodletting has to be part of their faith, or they're not Christians.
So all the man-defined finery of the Vatican and the mega churches and all that type of thing
Oh yeah,
encourages arrogance, and it
yes,
assuages humility. Humility is the most beautiful thing you can have and possess because it opens your eyes to seeing the revelations of the Most High.
absolutely. Yeah,
He
yes,
makes the most beautiful concepts complex, but they can only be seen by those humble in heart
yeah,
and appreciate it. You know,
Yeah.
if I give you a Rolls Royce, you'll never appreciate a Ford Focus, for
Yeah.
instance.
yeah. I know.
Okay.
Yeah,
But if you walk, if you have feet, and you know that there's nothing else that can get you for a long distance other than this Ford Focus that you walked upon, you're not going to be talking about like, well, I'm going to keep walking until I get a Rolls Royce, because you don't
Right.
know if you ever will.
yeah, yes,
It makes
And-
you appreciate what you have.
yeah,
amen.
Like Tobias Jones, you should appreciate what you have. You're asking for things you don't know about, and they could be
Right.
the detriment of you.
yes. Yeah, and that can really make things bad, you know.
Mhm.
That you can kind of start worshiping these things, and you don't want them to get hurt and all that kind of stuff.
Southern Lady, I backed up on the
Yeah.
chat here, says, we need to thank Jehovah daily for his great hesed he gives daily.
Yes,
And that is true. Gratitude is so important and
Yeah.
such a neglected thing today.
yeah, and if your humility gets to you, you'll realize another thing that I realized a long time ago.
Mm.
The fact that you're born is almost an impossibility.
Yes.
That your mother and father had to mate on the right night, and their mother and fathers had to mate on the right night to get them, and then go back a few generations. You ain't ever going to be born. But God had a different view. He made us, and so that miracle, if you will, of becoming a life that God gave you a consciousness. That to me, that's the biggest gift you can have. I created you. He's the creator, the Most High. I created you.
Richard here says, think of planting a seed. You are the light and salt of the earth.
Yeah,
I love those kind of teachings.
yeah, sure.
Very humble.
But so that's what Dave was saying about being born. That's why
Yeah.
my thing is, in the 6 days, the Most
Yeah.
High created creation and everyone that would have ever been born.
Yeah.
In that garden, in that first union
Yeah,
of that sperm and egg,
Yeah.
implanted in that was everyone that would ever be born,
yeah,
set by his
absolutely.
time.
yeah, yeah,
Say on this day, Dave would be born. On this day, Patty would be born. But he had already set it in motion to where he didn't have to, you know how we set an alarm to remind
Yeah.
us to do things. He didn't
Yeah.
have to remind himself to do that. He set the clock of eternity in
Yes.
all of our lives at that
Yeah.
point for certain things to take
Yeah.
place.
Amen.
Amen, amen,
Good
amen.
stuff. Good
So
stuff.
to one more thing I wanted to say about
Sure.
the lesson, the Torah for this week, when
Yeah.
you were talking earlier about free will.
Yeah.
Okay, Jacob was wrestling with the angel.
Mhm.
Okay, now Jacob recognized the angel as being an angel.
Yeah.
Why would he wrestle it? Why
Yeah.
would he not ask, why you're here to tell me something of the Most High?
Yeah.
If he recognized, now he didn't say I was wrestling with a man and I came to find out it was an angel.
Yeah.
He was wrestling with an angel.
Right.
Okay, with us, God is so wonderful. He's so wonderful. He gave us all free will. Everyone has free will.
Yes.
That's what we wrestle against. We are confronted with the words of the Most High. Then we wrestle with our free will because not all the time do we want to perform those acts that the Most High wants us to do.
Yes.
So there is no devil for me. I don't have a devil on one shoulder and I don't have a most high on the other one. I have a most high on one and Akita's free will on the other one.
Right.
That's a better place to be than the other.
Yeah.
Well, the devil is actually me. It's me wanting to do something other than. So
Yes.
and we want to say devil because we don't want to think that we can have that evil or that opposite inclination from the Most High within us, but we do.
Yes.
So when anytime there's like any stress, any conflict, and what should I do? I know what to do. I know I follow what the Most High says.
Yeah. Yeah. Amen. Well, we did eat off the tree of good and evil, so we know what evil is.
We knew it before we ate.
Yeah.
We knew what evil was when the Most High said what not to do.
Right. Exactly.
The goodness was when he said, don't eat from this tree. So we know good is not eating from the tree, and evil would be to eat from the tree.
Yeah.
And Jacob won. Okay, that part, I don't think Jacob won.
Okay.
Because the Most High, just like with Jephthah, and just like anyone who prays a wicked prayer and it comes to pass, like with David. David knew when he said, Bathsheba this is somebody's wife.
Right.
The Most High will give us so many warnings, and then he'll let us have what we want.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I'm not going to violate your free will. You want this so bad, and I've already given you the warnings, just like with Tobias Jones, too. Yeah. He had a good life. He had a wonderful wife. He had kids. He had a job, everything. He was like, I'm not thanking God for that anymore. This is what I want. And once you perform that, then I'll thank you if I'm pleased with it. And so, the Most High was like, okay, you got it. But see, we don't know what those elements that we think we want contain and how they can bring us into slavery if we get them.
Yeah.
Right. Like that saying, be careful what you ask for. Be careful what you pray.
Absolutely.
Those are some good words, Nikita. Thank you so much for sharing all that with us.
But that's why I'm like, whatever you want me to have, oh Lord, my God, I will be grateful for, because I don't know what, we think we want a high price job, a high paying job, but you don't know how much stress comes along with that.
Right?
Yeah.
You don't know how much time away from your family is going to come along with that.
Oh, yeah.
You don't know if they're going to want you to work on the Shabbat.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
So now you got to choose between the paycheck and the Most High.
Right.
So I ask the Most High, thank him for everything he's already given me. And then I thank him for whatever he has before me that I know he'll lead me to as long as I follow him.
Yep.
Amen.
Blessed be that holy name. And I pray, thank y'all for having patience with me.
No problem.
Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, Nikita.
I pray y'all have a wonderful Shabbat. Love y'all.
Love y'all. Thank you.
See you.
Yeah, if you come, we'll see you then. Shabbat shalom. Betty quoted Micah 6:8. I'm just going to read that.
Oh, that's my.
Yeah. Micah 6:8 from the ASV. He hath showed thee, O man, what is good, and what doth Jehovah require of thee, but to do justly, and to love kindness, and to walk humbly with thy God.
Amen to that. But
So
the previous verses, shall I come to you with 1,000 rams and
right.
But what does
Yeah.
I love that.
Where shall I come before Jehovah and bow myself before the high God? Till I come before him with burnt offerings, with calves a year old? Will Jehovah be pleased with 1,000 rams, with 10,000 rivers of oil? Or shall I give my firstborn for my transgression, the fruit of my body for? Wow, that's a real knocker, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. 6:6 to 6:8. Wow, that's powerful stuff.
Thank you for bringing that up, Betty.
Yeah, Betty, thank you for bringing it up. A few things. Libby says slavery of Egypt is different face, but same trap. And she also brought up when we're talking about all these beautiful churches and so forth. That's what draws them, because they don't have to feel responsible, and someone else does it for you, and you can benefit. But it's a trap of letting the hierarchy control you, which is very true.
Very good.
And
I wish we had more time to talk about each one of these points, but
yeah, any more of them?
well, a couple comments here.
Yeah.
Richard commented about thinking about Abraham taking the bread and the wine, and I don't remember what we were talking about at that time, but I think it had to do with some kind of kindness and showing respect. And
Okay.
what else? Southern lady says she quotes Deuteronomy 29, the secret things belong to God,
Yes.
but what he's reveals belongs to us. And
Yes.
we have to keep that in mind too, that
Yes.
something
Well,
meant for us
I'm
to
sure there's a lot of things that God knows that we don't know and we'll never know. But the important things, the Decalogue he gave to us and wrote it in stone. And so that's a beautiful thing. Another big deal, I think, is that when we go out and experience life, and we go back to the text, it takes on different meanings. And
definitely.
The thing about me and Patty, all of us, right? If your parents have died, it kind of means you're next. Not always, but and we just don't think about passing because we're in the living. And but it is that we're all going to die someday, and it is important to remember the meaning of life and trying to understand the meaning of life. A lot of scientists shun that and say it's just an accident that happened. But I don't believe that in the slightest. I believe there is a meaning to life, and that we're here to learn things and to experience things. And we're made in God's image in that sense. And he's aware of all of us, I believe. And there's 8 billion of us right now. And I looked at people while I was traveling today, and I thought of things like, what's that person's? Why were they created?
What's their life like?
What are they doing here on this planet? And they might not have any idea about what my belief is, and I don't know their belief, but I know that God knows them, and I believe that He meant to create them for a reason. It's the same with me, and it's not just the big names, Moses and Joshua and Deborah. I mean, those are all great people, but there's a lot of other great people that have
everyone is one
have done things and they've sacrificed their lives to make the world a better place. So I don't, and even if it wasn't correct what they were doing it because they believed it, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Everyone's working from their own point of view.
From their own point of view and their love. And so, the issue at the end of the day is tomorrow's class is going to be interesting. Because it's really kind of a huge turning point, and it's a very mystical story. I don't know. I love these. Karen is saying, "What is my destiny? Will I fulfill it before I die?" I ask, "Hey, I do." I wonder, what is this all about? And when I don't want to bring this up every time, but when you lose a child, it really takes the air out of who you think you are. I mean, it really changes your point of view. I will never be the same after losing my son. And I think of him every day, and I wonder why. And I won't get that answer. I understand that, but it's a life-changing event. When you lose your best friend or your parents or whoever, you realize when your spouse goes, my mom died within 9 months of my dad dying. She just went down the tubes because they were together for over 60 years. My point being is that, there's these life-changing events. You could have gotten into a car wreck. You could have been in a fire. You could have been in war. These things change you. Ross wants you to join him for wrestling with God. I don't really want to wrestle with God.
They say wrestling.
Oh, wrestling.
Did they say wrestling or wrestling?
Wrestling. Stop those good Southerner people. Yeah. Libby says it's kind of like as your kids get older, experience life. As they mature, they start thinking how my parent is getting smarter. We start to see the wisdom of God has made available to us gifts rather than a burden. Yes.
That's so
And
true.
Mark Twain said, I did not realize how much smarter my father was from my age of 17 till I was 21 or something
Something
like
like
that.
that. Okay.
Yeah, he's like, my dad got really smarter, being sarcastically, he got smarter. And that's good. And Betty brought this up. If we are created in God's image, then we are special. And we definitely are
Amen.
special.
Everybody here is special.
The design of the human, I don't want to go on about my book, but I've been writing a lot and on the profundity of faith, and it's very different. Humans are very different than the rest of the animal that are out there.
That's really
They might just give me a minute. They might give us. They might kind of be sentient sometimes, maybe even a little bit sapient, but we're Homo sapiens sapient. We're sapient that we're sapient.
aware that we're aware.
We're aware that we're aware, and we think of the future and why are we here. And my beautiful Siberian Husky, all she thinks about is eating and sleeping.
Present moment.
The present moment, and it's beautiful, aren't you, Sasha?
Just in the present moment. That's
Yeah.
not a bad thing either.
Look at the fingerprint, Eric John says. Absolutely. Okay, well, it's been a long week for me. I'm kind of sign off right now. And I want to thank everyone for coming.
Thank you all for joining
Next
us.
week, we're going to do Proverbs chapter 4. If you want to read, let us know on Discord or in United Israel Northeast at gmail.com. And tomorrow, there'll be Ross is going to wrestle with God.
He's going to wrestle.
I'm going to let him do that. And then there'll be the Zoom after call. And we try to keep things rolling. And don't forget, if you can, plan on coming to the United Israel World Union annual conference, which will be the last week in April in Jackson, Louisiana. And by the way, those folks in Louisiana, I wanted to tell you one thing real quickly. They've been sending money to Israel from Louisiana. The government has. And the pro-Palestinians want to know why Louisiana is sending money to Israel.
Hey.
Yeah, I saw it today.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Well, listen, the Aaronic prayer, I guess they call it sometimes. Yahweh bless you and keep you. Yahweh or Jehovah make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. Yahweh or Jehovah turn his face towards you and give you peace. Shabbat shalom, and thank you for waiting for me tonight and next week.